Illustrated just how far the GOP still has to go to reach the modern era.
If the Democrats want to insult the women of America by making them believe that they are helpless without Uncle Sugar coming in and providing for them a prescription each month for birth control because they cannot control their libido or their reproductive without the help of the government, then so be it. Let us take that discussion all across America, because women are far more than the Democrats have played them to be. And women across America need to stand up and say, enough of that nonsense.
Right. So the war on women is about controlling our libido. Got that? So much for changing and doing a better job choosing the words that they use to communicate their policies. Now, this came as the RNC doubled down on its anti-choice stance, and we're going to have more on that later. And at a time when both parties are talking about poverty and income inequality, the RNC also approved a resolution to repeal a law aimed at ending offshore tax dodging by millionaires and billionaires. Now, the one thing they did change was their primary calendar. Apparently recognizing that less really is more, the RNC voted to shorten their nominating process. And yet, still no recognition that their calendar was not the problem. Joining me now, Caton Dawson, former head of the Republican Party in South Carolina, McKay Coppins, political editor at BuzzFeed, and Michael Steele, former chairman of the Republican National Committee. Great to have you all, gentlemen.
Good to be with you.
Caton, I want to start with you, because I know you wanted to make mention of an incident that occurred in South Carolina yesterday.
Sure. We had a horrific accident, and not an accident, at South Carolina State University. Brandon Robertson was a football player, engineering student, paying his own way through school, was shot and killed yesterday. This is a tremendous student body and a tremendous university it's saddened today, and the entire state of South Carolina is sad. This mental illness is creeping into our malls and our universities all over the country, and we ask for the thoughts and prayers of especially our alumni all over the country that are tremendous followers of your show, Karen, and MSNBC, and the Bulldog Nation will survive. But President Elsie, our staff at the university, our faculty, all need all your thoughts and prayers, because it was a horrific event of a young man with a bright future at South Carolina State University. And thank you, Karen. I appreciate that.
Absolutely. Our prayers are with you. McKay, I want to start with you. Is there any sense from the meeting about how, in general, people were feeling about the autopsy? I mean, Reince Priebus definitely tried to make the case that things are changing, things are different. But there are a lot of indications to the contrary.
Yeah, I mean, look, when you talk about the Republican Party, you're talking about a lot of different factions. And that's kind of part of the party's problem right now. They're very much in the early stages of an internal debate about where the party goes from here. And so certainly I met with more than one Republican and talked to more than one Republican after Huckabee's speech who was mortified, who were rolling their eyes, who were saying, why is this guy becoming the face of the party at a time when we're trying to talk about how we move forward? At the same time, there were some changes that happened at lower levels, right? One kind of remarkable thing is the RNC actually passed a resolution saying that NSA spying program is unconstitutional. This is a program Republicans for years, all through the Bush administration, were very supportive of, and techniques like this were part of the Republican platform. And so you do see the RNC moving a little bit, right? But like you said at the beginning, the calendar, I mean, this is, the mechanics of politics and campaigns are important, but fundamentally what the Republican Party needs to figure out is what its agenda is, what its big ideas are, and we're still at the very early stages of that debate.
And Michael, I want you to take a look, because some of the headlines coming out of the RNC meeting, probably not what folks were hoping for. AP said RNC showcased update while losing image remains. Politico, 2014 or 2012, deja vu for the GOP. Reuters, Republican strategy for 2014 looks similar to 2012. So how can your party make the argument that they are updating their ideas, changing the way they're doing things, trying to do a better job outreach to people, when you've got Huckabee offending women and you've got, reports suggesting that nobody heard anything new?
Well, yeah, that's the problem, and I really think you've put your finger on the nub of it. What's new? What is the new part of this conversation?
You.
No, well, I know you are, and I can't answer the question because I'm not the man at the helm who's directing the victory. I mean, I did that in 2010, you know. So the fact of the matter is, it's a new day, new leadership. They have a different direction they want to go in. I mean, a lot of things that were put in place to reach out to the vast majority of Americans and to not have conversations about libidos, but about jobs and health care were there. They were dismantled.
Yeah.
So now they're starting in a different space, and I think that really has to be the real question to be answered. And it's hard to answer that question when, as has already been noted, you're in this internal discussion about who we are, what we believe, and that battle between the establishment and the grassroots, between the Eastern Republicans and the rest of the country, all of that's going to get worked out in this cycle and the upcoming 2016 cycle.
Caton, you know, South Carolina obviously very important to the primary calendar, to that process. What do you make of the changes? Because I don't think that as you heard me say in the opening, the length of time was not the problem. There were more problems with the candidate himself.
Well, Michael and I have had this conversation before about the calendar and the historic nature of our Republican conventions, and they've turned into more of a beauty contest and an advertising show than they have a nominating procedure. So I think the movement of the date up in the calendar is beneficial to us and our candidates. I've always said waiting all the way till the very last to get everything set up and in the right place for the candidate who gets the nomination is probably not the best. But moving it up into July is probably a good move. Second of all, the tone and tenor of the Republican Party is something that concerns both Michael and I as guys who've elected people and been elected. When Republicans are talking about birth control pills and not pink slips, we're probably losing.
Yeah,
that's right.
Well, and libidos, definitely. Let's get that out of the talking points. I'm so sorry we have to leave it there. As you know, we had breaking news. But thank you, Caton Dawson, McKay Coppins, and Michael Steele.
Good to see you.